This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. This is something we all do at some point in our lives, multiple times as well. Shopping for this one thing, but many of us aren't really sure what we're shopping for when we're looking for furniture. Sounds so easy. You go to a store, you go to a showroom, you pick some things out, hopefully you measured, and you think you're okay. I can tell you from experience, I wish I consulted somebody like her because I made some mistakes along the way. And it's so funny we're talking about furniture today. I was in a store the other day, passed by the furniture section, was actually thinking about buying something to replace my living room setup. And I tapped the brake because I'm not really sure what I'm doing. She is an amazing interior designer. She is Diane Rosen, and so great to have her back with us. How are you doing today?
I am doing just great, and thanks once again for having me.
Love having you on here. Learn so much, and I'm not even making that up. That was Sunday. I was in one of those membership type stores, and as I'm passing a certain section, they had different pieces of furniture. I was like, oh, look at that. Well, look at that. They have USB ports. They have outlets in it. Well, but I'm not really sure. And that's just, that sparked my my curiosity. I don't know that I would buy it there, but I've bought furniture before, and some has lasted, some has not. I don't even know what I'm buying. What do you think is the main mistake that people make when they're buying furniture?
They truly don't understand how it's put together. And there's several things that you really want to consider. First off, your style, you're attracted to it. So you sit, the first issue is sitting. And the second issue is budget, but conquering what you like and what you can afford is both it can become a challenge. Most and foremost, you want to be able to sit in it comfortably, look at the cushion, a sitting cushion, and the back cushion. What the best scenario, of course, I truly believe, is talk to a professional, someone like myself, and really literally go into a showroom where you can test drive multiple chairs, sofas, whatever it is you're thinking about on a seating level. And honestly, put your money exactly where you're going to sit most often. And usually in front of the TV or in your office desk, something on that order. You really want to be sure after, and not just sit and get up. Well, first, that's important. The depth of it. Can you get up comfortably? I mean, if you have any kind of ailment or arthritis or any kind of mobility issue, you want to be able to sit comfortably. But the second is, of course, the actual seat cushion that's composed and the back cushion as well. Because if you're sitting if this is going to be your TV, watch, chair, sofa, most often used, you want to be able to be comfortable. And going to a professional showroom like we have in our lovely city, you can really test drive to see what will fit and work for you best.
It is.
So
you really are spot on. And the lesson I learned was years ago, I bought furniture, invested in it. It was better quality. Well, I'll tell you, it went from one home to another home. And I'm going to try and think of the lifespan of the better furniture. I'm going to say I got easily 15 years and I paid more, but I got to tell you, Diane, it was so worth it. The only issue I ever had was the main couch. Some of the springs underneath, just were kind of given out a little bit. Truth be told, took a piece of plywood, put it there, put the cushions on top of it. Now, at this time, the couch was toward the end, but it looked great, and it served the
Yeah.
purpose. So I get rid of
Yes.
all that. I moved 3 years ago. I didn't take the time to pick something out, like you say, test drive it, sit on it, come back again, make sure it's the. I just bought that. All right, that's good. Measures out. All right, great. Didn't pay a lot for it. You get what you pay for, because I can see even minimal usage. I can see some of the fabric kind of wearing, where you would be sitting on it. I'm like, I don't even use it that much, in terms of people coming over and all of that. How could it be wearing so soon? That's what I paid for. That's what I got.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong, everything you ever want to own is online. My only caveat is know what you're buying, know where it's coming from. I personally always go USA domestic, only so because here's a detail. It's about the wood used. Now, nothing wrong with shopping online. I've done it myself. Once again, you need to know what you're buying. But if it's made, and nothing's wrong with Southeast Asia, nothing's wrong with any of that. However, the wood and details that are used are not always compatible with North America.
Mm.
So consoles, different chairs, things, finishes, you'll see splits, you'll see all kinds of things within a fairly short period of time. So I just put that caveat out there. I have nothing wrong. One tip that I would like to share is that there's nothing wrong with buying online. And if I call it really show and tell furniture, if you're never really going to sit in it, or it's a table or a bit of a console, and you're putting a vase or a flower on top and some photos, it never really gets used. Perfect. Do it.
Yep.
Go ahead and buy it. It will last as long as you need it to last.
Yep.
But that is the one, it's a huge deal. But one tip with where you sit, and that's where you should put your money, is where you sit. If this is going to be your TV sofa, TV chair,
Yep.
I always suggest too, if you're going to get a large 75-inch or larger screen, you really want to sit at least 10 feet away. Why? Because if you recall, well, and I do back in the day, if you were at the movie theater and you were in the first two rows, your head and your neck were bent backward.
Yep.
So you could see the whole screen. And after a while, it could be a bit uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest, regardless of the size TV you want to buy, that's terrific. Just make sure your placement, and you have the room for it, is adequate. So you're comfortable for the entire movie.
And look at the layout of the pieces, because the one I bought, it has an ottoman with it, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Here's a credit card, send it, deliver it on this day, and we're all good. Well, I didn't look deeper into it. I realized that the ottoman, it doesn't remove. So and there's nothing wrong with that. But I would like to take that ottoman from one end and move it to the other end when, I'm in that part of the couch. I didn't plan that out well. It is what it is, and I'll replace it. But you know what? It almost became disposable as opposed to an investment. And I think, that's the word. Look at it as an investment as opposed to just getting
Absolutely.
a couch. Yeah. I didn't see it that way, and I was in a rush, I admit it. What about fabrics? What can you tell us about different fabrics and furniture that you're going to be sitting on? And I got you what you just said before, ordering online for things that aren't going to, take a beating. It's just let's say a cabinet, you're putting some stuff in it, and that's all good. But the stuff where you need durability, what should we know about fabrics?
Really look at how you're going to use it. If it is, I always go back to your TV, sofa, chair, or group sitting, or even in your office. How often are you there? You want something that really, almost on a commercial level, that can really resonate. There's hundreds of fabrics, of styles and colors. There's hundreds of product to take a look at. In the world of fabric, it's almost endless, but you want something that is woven, and not necessarily a backing to it, but it's a very individual choice. But I would say there's plenty of upholstery wear fabric that can hold up for years, really. And if you have children or pets, you really want to take a look at this. And I go back to always saying, you really need to invest your time, because you're going to be investing your money, and go to a professional showroom where you can see the multiple choices, the style you're wanting, the comfort level you're after. And, you're spending a lot of money today. There's no getting around that. So make it what you want and how you want it to last.
What about, and I remember this was big back in the day, and I don't know if it still is, certain treatments to fabric, Scotch Guard and things like that. I don't know if that's still done. I don't know if they still sell furniture with something that you can put on it to prolong the furniture. Is that stuff even still a thing? And does it even make a difference?
It's pretty much built in.
Okay.
It's woven in. And that's why I say you can Scotch Guard. I would say, dining room chairs, that kind of thing. You can still Scotch Guard pretty much whatever, but the bulk of fabric today, and like everything else, has so leaped in technology, leaped in how to make and wear and do. And of course, I'm very sustainable. So most of the products I use and go for are recycled, and recycled product which mostly is from plastics and woven into wools and cottons and linens and everything else, will seriously last as long as you own it. The durability is terrific.
All right. What about pets? That was my real big lesson in buying this furniture I'm referring to. I wasn't planning on getting cats. Then not even a year after I had the furniture, I adopted two. It has now become their scratching post. And I hear that you can buy different types of fabrics which would minimize any kind of damage from cat claws. Any suggestions there? I know this is a very isolated situation, but any suggestions?
You really need a solid recycled product, because I talk about plastics, but plastic is made from oil petro product, and extremely durable. Personally, I owned cats for a long time with my children and love them and all that stuff.
Yep.
But I had them; they were indoor cats.
Same.
So I had the bulk of their nails removed, because after the first few versions of, oh, that's a good chair to scratch on, I said, no, I don't think so. The animals have,
and that's that. I get you. And back in the day, that was a thing. They don't do that anymore legally. That's not done.
Really?
Yes, yeah, truth. And I'll trim their claws like once a week at least. But they still get on there. And I'm thinking that maybe a fabric that has a tighter weave to it would be less that they can get their claws into.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I know
I'm not giving you any guarantees on.
I know. This is one of those, I don't know where to go with that. And even
exactly.
All that stuff, the repellents and all, I've tried it all. I've even mixed up my own concoction safely with essential oils and sprayed it around. That hasn't really made a difference.
Do they have their own cat
scratching
tree.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I really should elevate that a little bit more. I should really do that. I had it and then it got all ripped up. I should get something else just to focus them away from the furniture. Um, what about, now we're talking furniture.
Yeah.
Can we talk about outdoor furniture as well?
Oh, absolutely. And boy, has that improved.
Right?
It is just, well, the variety is endless. So for style, you just are going for what your particular style is, but how things are put together and made, oh my gosh, it's quantum leaped in the last 10, 15 years. The product and how the resins that are used, Adirondack chairs, sofas, love seats, tables, so forth. Um, Metal, of course, is always a uh, popular dressing for outdoor furniture. But when you want lounge chairs and different things with fabrics on them, yeah, there's wonderful variety. And
Mm.
again, I love it when they're recycled products because most of it is made with, nylon is petro-based product. So it's out there to handle rain and whatever, pool water.
Well, how about this? I've heard this too. And when I had that house, I redid the whole backyard. I, I mean, seriously, completely changed it. Put in a pool, patio, pavers, all of that. And my mind was always make this like a resort. Think like a resort in terms
Mhm.
of where you're putting things, durability. And as I come to learn that even companies like Sunbrella, which have fabrics that, can be outside, UV rated and all of that, they actually have different tiers. Depends on what you want to spend. You
Exactly.
can get up to the commercial resort grade if you want to spend more. But an eye opener, I guess it depends on how long you want it to last.
Exactly. And how often is it used? If you have a pool, you really need it to be top grade because with children, guests, and so on, everybody in and out of the water, and uh, my kids never really sat; they flopped
Hmm.
all over lounge chairs
Yep.
and took a beating. But boy, they handled it well. They can handle the moisture, they can handle the chlorine. And this is, keystone to that. And the look is how big a space do you have? And how are you going to use it? Are you barbecue people all summer long? Depending where you live, it's a lot of fun. And the varieties and styles are endless. So the shape and cut is again always to the size what you have. I always do a layout floor blueprint type planning so we can make sure everything you want will fit.
Hmm. How does that work with when somebody works with you? Let's say they want to redesign their living space. They're kind of changing everything up, new furniture, new pieces, all of that. Do you make recommendations of pieces? How does that work?
When I first enter a home, obviously I've never been there before, but I ask two questions. Is there the most favorite piece, or what is the most favorite piece in this room that you would like to keep? And then,
Hmm.
second, what's your favorite color? I say both of those because there's usually a history, and especially on antiques or something on that level, you want to still enjoy it. You still want to have it. And you can still work around whatever the new quote look or change outs are going to take place. And color, usually everyone has, pick your favorite color because believe it or not, that's what you look best in. So
Hmm.
some people are, depending on your coloring and actually the dimensions of the room and things can change, but we all have our favorite color that we look best in. So I try to incorporate that in the room. It could be on cushions, it could be on the wall, and there's variations to play with, but it's also a huge comfort zone.
I never thought of it that way. I really, what an interesting way to think of it, because we all have a color or
Uh-huh.
colors that we're more comfortable in. We think we look better in, and maybe we actually do. Like if you went to a colorist, they might say, yeah, that's a good one on you. Or maybe you want to try this color. So I never looked at it that way. And that piece that I'm referring to that I had for a long time, truth be told, never really loved the color. It was sort of like a greenish gray,
Uh-huh.
in a neutral and a darker color, so it hid things. But again, I wasn't like super fond of it, but it lasted. It did its job. So well, I'll accept that. I like grays. This had that
Yeah.
green tone to it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
might have gravitated more to a slight blue family gray blue
Uh-huh.
if but it worked though. It lasted, and maybe there was a reason that it should be that color because you didn't see stains, and that's what kids jumping all over and all of that over years.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it always goes back to your environment and the comfort zone. You want to walk into a room and go, I can relax here.
Mm.
I can, your office is a whole different spectrum, but in your TV area where your kitchen is and so on, you want to walk in and feel good about it. And that's where you can kick off your shoes and have a glass of wine or whatever and be comfortable.
I final thought here. Want to share very quickly. When I was at that store over the weekend, the membership type store, there's like three or four of them. I was looking for a bath mat, and in my main bathroom, mostly gray. The walls are like a light gray. Things in there, in the gray family could be darker, could be lighter. Well, they didn't have a bath mat that was gray, so I found that one that was sort of like a steel blue. And I
Uh-huh.
was just like, yeah, it's a good buy. I'll just get it. I keep driving to stores to get a bath mat. I'm taking this one. I put it down. It was almost like the world and the sun changed. Everything, like the sun came out. It's almost embarrassing that I didn't even see this. It's a pop of color, and it matched,
Uh-huh.
and it just elevated
Ah,
everything. So
uh-huh.
exactly. So that's where somebody like you comes in, where you get us past our color conservation, if you will, where we're afraid to, get a little adventurous. But I saw that in one little form. Imagine redoing a living room and not being afraid with your advice. Throw that red pillow in there. Trust me, you're going to like it. You're going to see
Uh-huh.
something totally different. We don't know that because we're afraid to get out of our comfort zone, right?
Exactly. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there's, children's rooms are great fun too because the colors are open. And this one little boy once said, well, I love red. I love green. And I went, okay, fine. We can, and so the bulk of the walls were green and in a shading that would be not in your face, but a comfortable green. And then I popped it all with his bedding was red, his pillows were red.
Hmm.
The rug on the floor was a shade of red. And here's a tip too that most people, people think white is white. No, white is just like everything else. It can be a bazillion versions of it.
Yeah.
But um, let's see, I'm trying to think. We had a name for it, but on your ceiling, used to call it a blush color. The ceiling can be a soft white, but have a punch of whatever's on your wall. And it's very subtle, but it will hug the room.
Mm. Yeah. It just the little tiny things of color can make so much of a difference, but
Uh-huh.
we're not trained for that.
Yeah.
We don't see that. How do we connect with you, Diane? What's the best way?
On my website, which is www.dianeroseninteriors.com,
Love it.
and alive and well.
Yep, you can work with people virtually at the same time. And I'm telling you right now, I love the way you laid out the pictures in the background, and I'll be stealing that soon.
Oh, this is my photography.
Wow. I mean, even
Yeah,
on this screen, I can see
you
it
can
and
tell. I
wow.
I took both of these. Well, I took the one with the deer right outside my window here.
Wow. Oh my
I have a
gosh.
lovely property.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, we have deer, turkey,
Mm.
birded fox.
I love the contrast in the photos, but I got to tell you, if it was a picture of a kiwi on a table, it would still look great because of the way you arranged it and the cohesiveness of that bar across and the two things that are coming down to the photos. Never seen that before, and I don't know what it is. I love it. I just love the presentation of that. Really nice.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
Always great having you on here, and looking forward next time we get together.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.